Our second speaker, finish up your comments, but we're going to go on, is Mike Slattery. The title of his speech is "Help Me, I Just Got Kicked Out of My House." Mike has been a farmer's insurance agent for over 15 years. During this time, he has called in many claims for his clients, and he has been the person that made sure his clients are being treated fairly and with ease. However, 3 months ago, Mike was flooded out of his house and experienced what it was like to be a victim of a major house claim. Today, Mike is going to pass on some sage advice concerning how to handle a catastrophic house claim. He hopes that your claim, should you have one, will go a lot smoother than his. Please join me in welcoming our second speaker this morning, Mike Slattery.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Have you ever had a house claim? And I'm not just talking about a small leak in the toilet, I'm talking about a major loss. Well, I had that happen on March 27th. About 6 o'clock in the morning, our fire alarm is going off. My wife is hitting me on the side saying, "Get up, get up." I don't smell any smoke. I get out of bed and put my feet into about 2 inches of water on my carpet. Oh! So I decide, since we have water in our bedroom, that I'd best go downstairs and turn the water off, which I did. And as I go back into the house and I look up at the ceiling where the smoke alarm was, the water was just pouring out onto the floor of our first floor. And it was going off because the water had shorted it out. So at that point in time, knowing a little bit about the claims process, I got on the phone and I called our claims office, which is what we should do right away if we have a claim. They in turn called a company called ServiceMaster, and within 2 hours, this is like about 9 o'clock, 9:30, about 5 people show up with this equipment. They come in the house and they start tearing off all of the baseboards. And they have a drill. And just a little bit above where the baseboards, they start drilling about 15 holes in each one of my walls. Holy cow. And then with that, they come in and they stick these hoses in the holes, and they put it into a monitor or a manifold here that starts sucking the water out of the side of the walls. And then someone else comes in with 2 of these big dehumidifiers, and they plug them all in. And it looked like a sci-fi movie. And I'm saying to myself, what's going on? Well, so that you know, it's very important that you have, if you were to have a major water claim, that you get that water out of the walls, because if you don't, then it creates mold. And if you have mold, no insurance company that I'm aware of will pay more than $15,000 to mitigate it. And so they have to dry it out. Now one little side note about mold. If you see mold and it's damp, you're okay, because the spores can't get away. But if it's dry, that's when you create all of the diseases and so on that comes from mold. So that's why they came in. Now, let me explain to you how your homeowner's policy works. There are 3 items within the policy that will cover a loss. Number 1 is item A, and that's called the dwelling. And that's what the insurance company is willing to pay if you should have a claim, the maximum amount. Item B is for personal property. That is the maximum amount that an insurance company will pay should your personal property be damaged due to the loss. And item 3 is loss of use, which means if you've had a loss such as what I had, you can't live in a house. There's too many wires and tubes and all kinds of stuff going on that you can't live there because it's not habitable. So the insurance companies will put you up in an equivalent dwelling while the repairs are being done. That's dwelling A, personal property B, loss of use C. Now, we were given all 3 of those items because we have a homeowner's policy. But what I learned from this entire experience was coming from my ignorance of not having been through it. When you have a major loss at your home, be it a fire or a water loss, you as the owner of that home have to be in charge. Period. My insurance company gave me 3 names of contractors that would be able to put my house back the way it was prior to the loss. So today, I want to speak about the contractors. I want to talk about the project management, and I want to talk about advocacy. So, the 3 contractors we had made a choice from. Now, we didn't realize that of these 3 contractors, they were general contractors, which is okay, but they don't do the work. So we chose a contractor that had a ton of experience in remodeling and in mitigating losses. Had a great personality, knew everything that had to be done to the house, explained it extremely well, so we chose him. When we went to sign the contract to have the work done, he brought in a project manager. Okay? My thinking is, when I spoke to the general contractor, he was going to be there with a hammer and nail to fix the house. Baloney. He was nowhere to be seen after that point until the end when he wanted his money. Up to that point, we had to deal with the project manager who had his own crew to come in. We didn't even know who they were. We had no idea who these people were. So the first subcontractor comes in, and he's patching the walls, or the ceiling rather, that fell down from the water. And about 4 days later, all of a sudden we saw these tiny cracks where the drywall was patched together with the tape and the mud. He said, that is not acceptable. So they brought in another crew who did a wonderful job. And they finished off the ceiling, the walls, and the baseboards. They did a great job. But the point is, when you deal with a contractor, the first question that I should have asked is, are you going to be here to oversee and maybe even do some of the work? He didn't. My fault. Second, the project manager. As I mentioned, he brought in his own crew. His crew that he brought in, I have no idea how much experience they had, but whatever it was, wasn't very good. He finally brought in another crew that had a lot of experience who did a wonderful job. And the third thing is that you have to be your own advocate. You have to demand what you want done with your home to get it back the way it was. Not only to the contractor, but also to the adjuster. the one who's paying the bills. Because if he doesn't understand, and the contractor knows that he's the one that pays him, then we've lost all communication. And if we lose communication, then there's chaos. So in our particular case, we finally got everything straightened out after we went through all of this process. And going through that process is tremendously mentally frustrating. So, the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you happen to have a catastrophic claim at your home, be it a fire or be it a water claim, you are the captain of your own ship, and you make sure that everything is done in the direction that you're going with your home. Madam Toastmaster.